On today's episode, we're not baggery enough for down there.
Well, we can't.
Down there.
We can't do that.
Down there is the water. I'll edit it.
I mean, wow, this is bad. This is a whole new level of evil right here.
You're gonna need the elbow pad.
Wolf Tick Nation, thank you guys for tuning into once again another Wolf Tick Videos episode. On today's episode, we are at Northwoods Trails here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We're fixing to ride the beautiful, always well-kept Cats Meow.
Ooh, I bombed the fork out again. Tire test area is not bad.
All right, we're going to be doing a real-time review on the Schwinn Axum Sport.
We hope you're riding it, but it's all taped off.
Hey, if it's taped off, we're going to find a way to finagle around a little bit. There's a lot going on, okay? Yeah. But over here is peaceful.
For once, I'm not totally opposed to you breaking the rules.
Yeah, so I just may break the rules. We're at a whole new trail area. This right here used to be a parking lot. We'll have Wolfman get some B-roll. Used to be just a massive gravel pad. Now it's turned into a parking lot, and apparently we've got Holly Hustle over here on the left, and we have got the Monty over here on the right. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out which one of these guys can get us to the Cats Meow the soonest. We're gonna have to find out. I'm just gonna have to take one of these trails. And they're both green. They're no hiking, they're just mountain bike riding only. I'm gonna have to take one of these trails and we will see where we go. I think I'm gonna go with Holly Hustle.
Can you read it since Big Sister Brandy's not here? Can you?
No, I can't. We need her. Anyway. All right, guys, we're fixing to get the Schwinn Axum Sport, the bike that is $300. It's actually $298, under 300 bucks. All right, guys, so please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's go get that bike suited up and let's talk about it.
All right, guys, here we go on the Schwinn Axum Sport 27.5 real-time review. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got Wolfman over here set up with the camera, and I think we've got our bearings straight on exactly what trails we are going to be riding. I think we're going to be going to the left here, and I think it's called, not the Monty, but it is called the Holly Hustle. So we're gonna take this Holly Hustle, we're gonna go down, see if we can find the Cats Meow, and then we're gonna go from there. And I've never been on this trail before. We're gonna talk about this bike and how she feels. And so you guys know that Falcon derailleur, it does have a clutch and it's on. And I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there is some chain slap going on back there. And we are in seventh gear, 14 to 40 group set. This is pretty neat. This is a good little warm-up, get some flow in. And this will go right down to the parking lot where we usually film from. Like I said, it's packed with people right now. Okay, brakes are going to be full sketch on this thing, believe me. Other thing that's full sketch is this seat post tube. That thing is dropped down as much as it'll go, so it's gonna be sitting room only, I'm guessing. But I don't know, I'm liking the feel of this bike already. It feels really good. It's a small, and all they offer it in right now is a size small and a medium. 298 bucks. Hope I don't get a flat, but we do have flat and tube repair stuff. Had to put that big old wrench in this thing, 15 millimeter. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna be taking on the Cats Meow here shortly. We'll get some climbing in, talk about the feel of the bike, the handling, the lack of brakes possibly. And it's going to be a good time. And hopefully sell some of these racers away. I definitely don't want to mess any of those guys up in their times. I remember when I was racing in Texas, I got stuck behind a woman. And it's like, man, she was racing. I was quite a bit faster than her, but she would not let me pass her. And I was like, hey, scoot over. And it was a really tight quarters. And eventually I got past her. She let me get to the side. But it's like, come on now, lady. Like, we're racing here, so I don't want to get anybody's way today. This is a neat little trail. I like it. That's about it. So that's a good little warm-up, actually. You know, I was thinking, me and Wolfman were talking, next time we come out here, and we film. I think we're gonna just start doing it from that parking spot. This will look more familiar to you guys here. But if you guys can see, everything's all roped off right now. We're actually talking about going from up there and filming there, and the reason why is just get this good little warm up and you're not down here in all the mess. On your left. But I like it, it's pretty cool. Yeah, they've got the little tents and everything set up all the way around here. And we're gonna see, I think we can get to the Cats Meow. I don't know. Well, that's not bad at all. Make sure I have everybody's way. Okay, here we go. We're officially on the trail. Now, I'm not going to, man, the shifter is touchy. Shifter is super touchy. I was about to say I'm not going to put a lockout. There's no lockout to worry about. I'm not even going to raise the seat post because, well, I might need to. This sucker is so high right now. It's almost like climbing position like we talked about in the initial impressions episode. All right, if you guys want to know any more specs on this bike, make sure you check out the initial impressions episodes where we break it down. But brand new, we just bought this thing from our local Walmart. And we're super excited to do that. You know, it's nice to travel around and bike searches and give other towns money, but it's always nice to keep that money local. So first off, she's a good climber. I got the little viewing window here on the Falcon. I don't even think I'm in first gear. Okay, now we're in first gear. 14 to 40 group set, very snappy on the shifts. And again, we do have the clutch on. And that fork is kind of doing a little bit of work up there. We're climbing right now. I know we have that GoPro effect, but that fork's actually giving me some movement. I have a feeling we're gonna bomb it out. I think it's got about 60 millimeters of travel. What I like is the viewing window on the shifter. That's nice for a 7-speed, especially doing these real-time reviews. And it is a little gawky. It's a little big, but it's easy and accessible. And I like that it's a thumb and an index shifter. And remember, one big thumb press on the shift test from 7th, you give it one good thumb press, it goes up to 1st, which is crazy. All right, we'll see how the fork does up here in these little, in the smalls as we call them. And we'll talk about how I feel on this bike. A little weight on the front end right now. And I'm shocked how well she's moving. Yeah, we're gonna bomb it out as much movement as it's got. A lot of times these coil forks like this don't have movement and they're super stiff. And they just kind of rub on those stanchions, rub the paint off. So you either get a fork that's got way too much movement like this one, or one that doesn't have enough. But it's going to be interesting. Let's talk about the feel of this bike. She feels heavy. I'm barely warmed up, guys, but she feels super heavy. It's 37 pounds, and that's a 1x small 27.5. That's crazy. Aluminum frame, but everything else is steel, it seems like. I don't feel, this is a good thing, it doesn't feel like the aluminum comp in the cockpit where it's super tiny and I'm cramped. It actually feels decently stretched out for me. I'm not sure what the reach is on this, but I'm 5'5", and it feels super comfortable, that's for sure. Seat, not so much, but the overall feel of the bike does feel very good. All right, going up the sidecar. A lot of climbing before we get to the Cats Meow. You know, I was talking a lot of crap about these grips, and there's a reason for that. They're not lock-on. They're the, what was I calling them? The goofy grips. They are so, they're really spinning in my hand. It's not even hot out today. It's cool. And there's no moisture. It's not humid. These suckers are already spinning in my hand, and that's not a good sign whatsoever. Curious to see how these tires do. Same tires are on the Axum FS, our new full suspension. And I am loving the shifter, how snappy it is for sure. I like the 1x ability on this bike. Comes with 1x. It's only a 7-speed, but it's the 14 to 40 tooth. So you do have a pretty good amount of climbing options. And it doesn't feel like, oh my God, this is 37 pounds. It did in the beginning, but now that I'm warmed up, I'm glad they at least gave you that that gear set up back there. Because if this was like what I thought it was going to be, like a was a 12 to 24, 11 to 24 freewheel 7-speed, it'd be terrible. But for them to give you that and a clutch derailleur, and you guys were the judges on that, if it actually did something or not on the initial impressions, that's cool. It's just a freewheel. A lot of that weight is attributed to the threaded axle in the back, as we've talked about. The massive kickstand, we have steel bars. It's just a really heavy bike, and I think this will be a really fun bike, as we're talking about in the shop. Hey, you know, are you looking at getting a cheap ride and doing some upgrades over time? I think this would be a cool bike to do it on. You got the tapered headset, or tapered head tube, one by already, so you don't necessarily need to change your crank arms. The components are separate, not together. It's another neat feature. It's not just super cheap and all stuck together. We have to change out your group set and your brakes. Decent tires. For stuff like this, not a problem. Going downhill will be another story. But I'm digging it. I like the bike. And the bar width, it's like, thank you for giving us something other than a 720 or smaller. It's very comfortable. We'll see about the grips here when we get to the Cats Meow. All right, guys, seat post is dropped. Let's do this. Standing room only. I already know that seat's going to go up in the... I'm glad I'm wearing padded shorts. Get a little bit more protection. But let's do this. I have a feeling I'm going to be able to really get down to this cockpit and get down into this bike and be a rider and not just sitting way atop a big old frame. Love the small. That fork's already doing work. We might bomb out before we get any hits on here. Just some of these pump sections, we might bomb it out. I'll let you know if I feel it, but we'll definitely be showing you that camera. Okay. Bike, for being 37 pounds, is actually really well balanced. And I'm able, since it's a small frame, I'm able to drop my butt behind that seat. So that seat is in my crotch area, which is allowing me to get low on these pumps. Chain slapping, I'm in 7th gear, chain slapping all over the place. That clutch is not really doing a whole lot for us right now. But we're definitely flowing. I love that I can barely see that front tire at the moment while I'm creeping down into the cockpit. Makes a big difference, gives you a little more confidence. Tabletop there. Another one, here's Brandy, step up. Okay, may have just bombed that fork out. Was very back-ended on this bike at the moment. The weight did feel a little rear heavy during that jump. We're gonna check these forks out right now. This fork, super heavy in the rear end. At first it was nice and balanced. Then it kind of just took a turn. Let's check this out of the way. Let's see what we have got. Bike's moving for sure. Yeah, we bombed that fork out. So we were down right here earlier, maybe right there, and now you can see that little line up there. We bombed it out. This fork is like moving. There's no preload, no lockout. It's the cheapest of cheap on forks, but it's actually doing a really good job. I'm shocked it's doing that good of a job. I didn't see it really moving at all, and I saw all this paint just coming off, and that's usually what happens. Yeah, we're beating up this chainstay protector back here. She is full of oil. Chain slapping all over the place. I was in 7th gear. I had to go down to, or I had to go to 4th gear. To get that little climb out of the way. Super rear end heavy, big time. But the bike's comfortable and I can actually maneuver it. Now let's see if these tires will maneuver. Down here in the tire test area. This will be another story, but I'm actually happy. It's okay that that seat doesn't drop down as much as I'd like it to. Oh, bar spinach, hang on. We're going to tighten up this bar. I was gonna say I really like the kickstand. It's kind of doing more harm than good at the moment. All right, there we go. Yeah, we gotta tighten these bars, guys. My massive wrench in there. All right, I think we are good to go. I think that's a decent shot on the fork. Got this guy tightened back up. It is a 4-bolt stem. I'm kind of surprised that it spun on there. I went super tight, and I've always been a believer that the top part of the stem here should be touching the rear end section up on top, and then there's more of a gap on the bottom. I seen that in the book one time. Comment if you're a believer in that as well. All right, nobody's coming down the trail. Let's get it. God, it's hard to get that flow back, you know what I'm saying? A little drop area, very chain sloppy. Oh man, these, I thought the bar spun again. It's these grips. She's fast. Pedals are really bad. Okay, ooh, I bombed the fork out again. Tire test area is not bad. I'm bombing the fork out. I hope I didn't just get a flat on the front end. We're gonna find out. That fork is taking a beating, poor fork. I really hope I didn't get a flat in the front end. I don't want to take these turns too hard because I don't want it washing out. I think she's feeling low up there. Let's see if we can get down to the bottom before we have to change it out. That fork took a beating, and I'll be surprised if this tire and rim and all that held up. We'll take a look at that too, because I definitely hit the crap out of it. And guys, a lot of time when I'm riding these trails, especially Cats Meow, I'm so familiar with it. We want to really put it to the test, the bikes. And a lot of times I say, hey, I'm going to be really smart. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I try to be, but I also try to put these bikes to the test. So what I'm getting at is I try to overshoot things, especially with the turnaround after the tire test area. I try to overshoot things like that because it's important to see what will hold up. And I know the limits that my body can take out here. So I know sometimes I'm like, yeah, we're gonna put this bike to the test, but we're not gonna get crazy. I think it is possible. It's a good point. I've seen a comment before, but I'm gonna try to flatland things and just hit things a little bit harder, and purposefully just be a little more rough, kind of like the bar spin up there between the trees. You know, that area right there, I have to land super hard on the fork just to try to get it to bottom out, and also see if the bars hold up. That's a pretty popular spot for that. You know, right after the tire test area, right into the somebody coming down the trail, right into the tabletop. You know, that's another area where when I do things like that, I have to flatland it just to see if stuff will hold up. And I'm pretty aware of the trail. You know, I've ridden this trail probably more than anybody in Arkansas, but so it's all a part of it. But let's go ahead and take a look at this front wheel. I think she actually held up. There's no bends or breaks. I could have sworn flat landing it like that I would have gotten a flat, but she seems to be okay shape. We've definitely bottomed this fork out here. You can see I was thinking 60, and I bet on the money I'm very correct with the amount of travel on this coil fork. 60 millimeters of travel. Everything else held up pretty good, but I'll tell you guys what, let's get back to Wolfman. Let's go talk to him up in the parking lot, and we'll do a little bit of conclusion on the Axum Sport 27.5. That was the Cats Meow. Super fun. Pretty well sized for me.
All right, guys. Well, I have to say, very impressed with the Schwinn Axum Sport.
I had a feeling.
Let me tell you what, super comfortable in the cockpit. Didn't feel like the Comp Zerker. You know, we're talking about this being the replacement for that bike. We talked about it a little bit on the trail, but it didn't feel like I was cramped whatsoever. And then the extra 4 foot that they give you over here on the seat post tube, getting to raise that guy up and really get comfortable in the legs, I didn't get wore out once on this bike. In the beginning I did when I wasn't warmed up. Raise that seat post up a little bit more. Super comfortable, super tight bike. And not only that, but I think I blew a seal out on the fork. But that fork was doing some work, buddy. We need to get a new fork for this thing whenever we ride it again, because I blew a dust cover thing off there, okay, for sure. But the fork came into play really well. The group set was great. The brakes weren't bad. The tires stuck decently. The worst thing I would say about this bike, like out of the box right now, that was a pretty intense little trail, the Cats Meow, right? The worst two things about this bike, pedals, okay, and these grips. Those goofy grips, man. Those things were spinning all over the place. Oh, and the stem, if we want to go 3. I'm afraid of tearing up the threads because I've tightened it so much, but I got bar spinach 2 times out there. Spot between the trees and another one after the little tabletop section. I believe that's where it was at. But all in all, such a really good ride. I can't believe this is a bike that's under $300. Like, it's pretty awesome to me to think that you get a really good frame, good foundation, internal routing. We do have the shifter internally routed, which is only about a foot, but you do have the internal routing for an upgraded dropper post if that's what you want to go with on this. And just the way that I feel on this size small Axum Sport, I'm a big fan. I really am. I'd like to put some 2.6 tires on there, some new pedals, a new fork, new bar, a new stem, just pretty much a Wolf Tick Videos upgrade on this bike. And I think she is ready for the rest of the season. Like, this bike was a blast out there. I really enjoyed it. and I'm just stoked that it's under 300 bucks. Like, it was such a good buy. You know, tapered head tube. This thing is ready for some upgrades, and maybe that's what we'll be doing with this bike over time, is just some simple upgrades, Wolftick style. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say about it, you know.
How about the playfulness? Did you notice
Very
the
playful. Yeah, it's like I feel like I can throw this bike around. But what I like about it is, again, I'm 5'5", about 145 pounds. What I like about it is it's so playful, and it doesn't feel like it's tinier than me. I've been on a lot of bikes that are a lot smaller, you know. I guess just the maybe the wheelbase or something. They've done a good job, because while you're riding on it, you can still see that front tire, and I'm a big fan of that. It just gives me more confidence in the turns and getting low and in the features. But yeah, it felt playful to the point where it didn't feel like the bike was being lost underneath me, and that's never a good feeling. You know, it felt like I was actually in the cockpit and riding this thing. But a big fan. But Wolftick videos, we appreciate you guys watching as always. Man, if you guys would like to buy us a coffee, you know, buy us some coffees, completely appreciated, and it gives us the ability to actually do some upgrades to bikes like this, if that's something that you guys are into, and checking out the channel and going, I want to see where they go with a bike like this or any of our other bikes. Cup of Coffee does it. Patreon, such a good support system there.
They got to be able to handle the adult language.
We say that all the time, and he's not kidding on that, but it's just a really good platform. We've got some awesome patrons on there. We always do a Patreon meetup every year. It's been a really good thing. But man, please hit, and also if you don't want to be a patron, you don't want to buy us coffee, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so you don't miss another Wolftick Videos episode. But appreciate you guys watching for sure. I've got a Schwinn Axum FS to get on. All right, we're going to be doing that. Let's get after it.